when we came to Australia. Because when we came here, we had our first child. She was only 1 year old, and I was 6 months pregnant. So I gave birth after only 4 months from our arrival here, and it was really, really hard because we didn't have any family support, we didn't have any established friendship, and my husband had to go to work, and I remember it was a really hard time for me. I don't know how I did it, but yeah, it was really hard.
The most difficult thing for my parents was having no family. We came with absolutely nobody here. We didn't have anyone to give us advice. We didn't have anyone to give us financial help. You know, we didn't know where to go. We didn't know what school to go to. You know, the lack of help was overwhelming, and we had to start from the bottom to get to the top. Also, language barriers. My parents knew English, obviously, but I came with zero understanding of the English language. You know, it's my second language, but obviously I can speak now.
I haven't experienced racism firsthand, but I've heard many stories from my friends, and one of my friends was walking down the street and got egged and yelled at with racist remarks. It made me feel really sad and realise that racism is real, even though I haven't experienced it.
The most difficult thing when my dad's family migrated from Mauritius was, I think, the local language, the local jargon and sayings. Dad tells a story of taking his play lunch, I think we now call it recess, but his play lunch to school and playing with it for the first week at school. He didn't actually know that he had to eat it. He interpreted it literally. And my grand-mère, who is Dad's mum, was invited to a function and ladies were asked to bring a plate, so she literally took an empty plate instead of taking food on that plate.
I think the most difficult thing for my parents would be the lack of language to begin with. I always recall Mum talking about we settled pretty much in Melbourne. You always start off in Maribyrnong in the sort of, refugee centre. And then, you know, she was lucky to get a job, and Dad as well. And they've been in their factory jobs for about 30 years now. But I recall her saying how, you know, to make ends meet, we would eat like the chicken, you know, the chicken wing, but rather than the wing, the little end tip. And, you know, you would buy kilograms of that, and, you know, that's what she remembers, you know, feeding the family with these little chicken, you know, wingtips, which, you know, for us was still, you know, a luxury compared to what they sort of came from with sort of, you know, having no food. So
I did find community, but not straight when I came. Like, you know, it took time just to know people and to establish friendships. And because I came with my little family, and I had a 1-year-old to look after, and I had 6 months in my tummy to look after, so it was a bit hard at the start.
They basically had no family, no sort of family support. Times were tough. The main thing with the gold rush was the lack of water to wash the gold. They were against all odds, but they gave it a crack. But like most people, gold wasn't the only way you could make money. You could run cattle, you could grow crops, you could, we grew grapes, and the original grapevine's still on our property. So they worked in companies as well as their own mines. And then eventually more family came over, so they got the support. So there's a big family tree of Dorses.
Back every 5 or 6 years, I went back to see them. You know, once you have a mother and father, it's nice to see them again. You enjoy, you laugh, it's nice. Yeah.
It would have been hard to leave.
Then when you leave again, it's hard. Yeah, it's nice to go, but when you leave again, it's hard. Yes, it's hard. So I went for 5 or 6 times back. Then the last time we went together, me and her, 25 years ago. My God.
94.
Yeah, went around the world, more or less. We went to England, to Canada, to New York, England, in French. Yeah, that was the last trip together, and then finished. Now we lack of energy. Now the legs no good, the mind no good.
Now coming to Loyola is a trip.
Yeah.
I believe one challenge that highlighted that difficulty of coming from the mother country island to Australia was what happened as they approached Melbourne, and that is that the relatively newborn baby died on the ship, as many people did. And you would understand that when you die on board a ship, the burial is at sea. So the mother had to keep the death of her baby a secret until she got to land, and this was a number of days, in order to be able to take that child and bury it. So
I had a little pocket dictionary. Was that big. Was given to me from one of my friend. Came back from America as a prisoner, and he was learning English as a prisoner in America. And he gave me, you go to Australia, he gave me this little dictionary. So every word the people say, quick, open and read it. So it was Italian and English. And I tried so much to learn. Then when I was in Tasmania, I used to go to the evening classes. There was a mother and daughter, they were teachers. So during the day work, at night I went to the evening classes. And I tried, I put all my interest to learn. But I was, in 5 years, I was going state to state like I was in Italy. Yes.
I was lucky enough to become a part of Australian society very quickly. When you come here at a younger age, it's easier to. However, I still get the like question like, oh, are you in ISIS? Or, you know, like, you know, there's a lot of generalizations and stigmas that people have about people of Middle Eastern backgrounds, especially. But yeah, it's here and there. But I've been lucky enough to not be you know, affected very much by racism.
Racism, I didn't have like a direct racism, if I could be clear with that. But I realized, especially because when I came to this country, I didn't wear the scarf. But after I put the scarf, after my 5 years being here in Australia, after I put the scarf, I just realized lots of people look at me like really weird, like they stare at me in the streets, in shopping centers, and also just, you know, in the traffic lights where you're just waiting for the red light. I just feel people are staring at me, and it makes me feel uncomfortable, but I try just in my mind to make it a bit positive so I don't get like really upset about it. And I just try to think about it. I just lack maybe knowledge about what it is, why I'm wearing it, what does it mean for me, and I just try to look at it that way. So
grew up next door to my primary school, which is Vanda Primary, and I remember being an only child and just, you know, longing to go to school because that was a place of learning, of freedom, and so I always wanted to be in that place. The only time I remember racism was during my primary years and being called Hey Hey at Saturday because my Vietnamese name is Hey, and it's only sort of as an adult that I changed my name to Hope. Or, you know, I do remember being called Ching Chong as well, and, you know, having sort of the facial features, you know, being pulled at me. But apart from that, I, you know, really don't recall any sort of hardships at all. I remember going to school, having a meat pie and a Big M every day. I think Mum felt that was a way to assimilate, to become Aussie. I never brought rice or anything like that at all.
They were very poor. When they first migrated here, they lived with his auntie and 2 other families in Glen Iris, and there were 18 people in a 3-bedroom house. And he reports that there were himself, 3 others in 1 bedroom, and his parents and 2 others in another bedroom, and it was very, very difficult living conditions. But everybody was quite happy. They eventually moved on to Glenroy, into a government house where my grandmother raised 12 children, and again, very poor. They had to share shoes. They had one pair of good shoes amongst all the boys, and when they went out, one of the boys would wear the shoes and they'd share those around, and it was really difficult for them to know how to access government help and government services with such a big family for such a big family and with the language barrier.
I know my mother and father, the family, they were poor and nowhere to get money from. So as I got my money, he always send money. Every couple months, send bit of money to help the others. You got to help when a person is in need, or else what's the use to help if not in need?
It's your choice for me, because when I decided, lots of people, they think we girls, we have to be like you, be from the our husbands or fathers, it's being like dominant male countries, they have to enforce us for that, and we have to wear it. Actually, it's not the case all the time. Some countries, yes, but for me it wasn't that. It was just a spiritual choice for me. I chose to wear it, and I'm very happy doing it. And yeah, it just makes me feel I see God all the time. When I wear it, it's just a reminder for me. Yeah.